What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Karmic Mentality. Welcome back to my channel, and today I have a two-part video for you where firstly I will recommend you the must-have accessories for the Sony Zve10, the current camera that I'm using right now, and secondly an optional set of accessories that you might want to pick up depending on your type of cinematography. Now before I jump into the video, I just want to say to all the people watching is that please don't feel like you need to get every single thing that I mentioned, because sometimes what we do is we get caught up into purchasing everything that YouTubers influence on us, and then we realize that we may not really need all those things. So take a second to think about whether or not you need a specific product before you purchase it. Also, I've took a lot of time and effort to find some good quality, budget-friendly accessories and put them all together, so if you could smash that like button and hit that subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. Alright, so let's get started now. The first product on our list is an external microphone. If you've heard the internal Sony microphones, you know that they're complete trash. Even if you get the cheapest $10, $20, $30 microphone from Amazon, that is going to be a night and day difference from your internal mic to that external mic. But of course, I'm going to recommend you something a little bit more budget friendly but still good in quality, and that is the Rode Video Micro. This microphone is amazing. Like, it has a very similar sounds to what I'm using right now, which is the Rode Video Mic Go 2, which is actually double the price from Rode Video Micro. The Micro goes for around 55 bucks and you'll get some awesome audio quality. But if you're looking for something even more budget friendly than that, then you can go on Amazon and pick up one of these $20-$30 lav mics, which is still a lot better than your internal Sony camera mic. And you've got a clip over here and you have a pretty long cable, and nobody's going to see the cable when it's outside of the shot, and it directly just plugs into your camera, so you don't have to worry about anybody seeing the cable, and you got yourself a cheap external microphone that's way better than your internal one. Alright, moving on to the next one, which is the Zve10 VL100C external video light. Now this video light is a must-have in my opinion because of its attractive price point at $27 Canadian and a 3-hour battery life, which is quite fair in my opinion for the price that you're paying. But if you do need it to last a little bit longer, you could always just attach it with a USB-C cable because it is a rechargeable light. You can attach your USB-C into this port right over here and use the light while it's charging. It might squeeze a little bit more battery into it and it might prolong the life for another hour or 30 minutes or something like that. I'm not sure, I haven't really tested it out, but I'm sure it would work. Another good thing to keep in mind is that this is not water resistant, so please do not take this into any water environment like the beach or outdoors in a rainy day. But other than that, it is a great overall light to use in indoor situations and outdoors, as long as the day is dry and your environment is dry. Now, since the Sony Zve10 doesn't really come with an internal flash, you can use this as an alternate to that. Now, external flashes aren't really that cheap. They could rack up to hundreds of dollars. Although external flashes do have a better light range and other features, this video light is still good enough to take pictures in closed low light environments, such as buildings, indoors in front of a wall, or even on front yards and backyards. Now let me show you what this light could do. When I turn it on, it has these 4 little dots. It's at 3 right now, but it indicates your battery life. There's a wheel over here on your left and there's a wheel on the right. The wheel on the left will go all the way from warm to cool, just like that, and the wheel on the right will adjust the brightness, just like that. So you can see how bright this thing could go up to. It could literally capture my entire room. Alright, next thing what we have is a dummy battery, and every single dummy battery comes with an adapter, something similar to this, and a battery similar to this, which just attaches straight into your camera. The adapter is going to have to be plugged in via another cable, which is connected from here straight into your wall outlet. That way you're getting some constant power straight into your camera. Kind of imagine it like a laptop charger that has an adapter, and the laptop is being charged constantly without you having to worry about the internal battery dying. Same way the battery that is provided with the Sony Zve10, without you having to worry about it dying, you get some constant power through the dummy battery. Now if you are going to be using this camera outdoors, then I suggest that you skip out on the dummy batteries altogether and instead just opt for some extra rechargeable batteries. That way you can swap out those extra rechargeable batteries throughout the day as one dies after the other. But the other thing to please note down is that do not get a cheap dummy battery. Get something that is of quality and that is highly rated. This is from Amazon, costing only $28, probably one of the cheapest dummy batteries that I regret getting. So please do not get any dummy batteries that have this design on its adapter. This was 28 bucks, and I thought that because it is cheap, I'll save a few dollars, and every dummy battery does the same thing, right? It just takes power and it constantly brings it to your camera. However, I was wrong, because the first day that I used this, I realized that my screen was actually showing a 95% tick. In an hour, it went to 85. And another hour, it went to 75. So what it showed was that the battery was actually being degraded as if I used it for a longer period of time. Of course, that would go away if you stopped using it, and if it was still plugged in, it'll go back to 100. Not a problem. So I wasn't bothered by it too much because I wasn't going to use it for more than 10 hours. But here's the thing, the next day, the very next day, when I used it again, I started realizing that my screen was glitching, my buttons, my functions, all of that was glitching, my screen was freezing. I wasn't actually able to use the camera the way it's supposed to be used. Then I wondered that it's probably not sufficient power that is being provided to the camera through the dummy battery. And that's why I took the dummy battery out and I replaced it with my original rechargeable battery. Everything started working fine. I thought maybe it's a one-time thing. I tried it again, same thing. So do not get yourself this specific battery from Glow Rich on Amazon going for 28 Canadian dollars. Instead, get something that is a higher quality. There are a few that are higher quality and they have thousands of reviews. Thousands of people have used them and they work perfectly fine. Okay, so the final product on our must-have list is a stand. Whether you're indoors or outdoors, you're gonna need a stand. An indoor stand is gonna be a little bit different from an outdoor stand. And what I mean by that is, let's say right now I'm making a talking head video and I'm sitting down, the camera is facing on my eye level. But if I was standing up, then the camera still needs to face my eye level. And for that, you need a height adjustable stand for your indoors. Now for the outdoors, of course, you need a simple stand like this. Now this one I got from DJI. I didn't buy it from DJI, it just came with my gimbal. So I don't expect you to get this from DJI. Don't spend that much money. Instead, just get a cheap $20 knockoff version on Amazon. You can easily find this one. There's nothing much to it. There's no electronic components that go into it. All it does is it opens with its 3 legs. Now I can place it down on the pavement, on the floor for those low shots, or I could just make those 3 legs come together and I could hold it like this and vlog around. So that way I'm not holding the camera in an awkward position waiting for it to slip out of my hands. Instead, I'm holding it with ease, kind of like this. Another thing to note is that there are other outdoor stands like these that come with a selfie stick, like a retractable, expandable stick that will give you that wide angle view. So if you're interested in that, then check those out and get those ones instead of these ones. Now moving on to the optional list, and the first item on our optional list is a dead cat or a windscreen that looks something like this, kind of like a cat furry material, and the only purpose of this is to minimize windscreen when you're shooting outdoors. So not everyone's gonna need this, but if you're shooting outdoors, then you're definitely gonna need it. But this specific one came with the Sony Zve10 for the internal microphone. But of course you'd have to go out and find one that fits your specific external microphone. The second item on our optional list is some extra rechargeable batteries, and I leave this up to you guys on whether or not you want to keep the rechargeable batteries on your must-have list or the dummy batteries, because this will all depend on whether or not you're using this camera indoors or outdoors. But just keep in mind, if you are going to be buying some extra rechargeable batteries, that the Sony Zve10 original battery, it goes for around $130, whereas if you get a 3-pack or a 4-pack from Amazon, you can literally get those for about a third of the price. Now another thing to keep in mind is that the off-brand ones will be around 80% of the original Sony battery, probably not going to squeeze out the exact amount of life out of it, but combining all three of them together, you're getting more life altogether at a fraction of the price or a third of the price, depending on which brand you choose. Now the third item on our list, which in my opinion is probably one of the more interesting ones, is getting an extra lens. If you're already used to the Sony 16 to 50mm lens that comes with the kit, then you're definitely going to need another lens, and I recommend a Sigma 16mm. The one that you're literally looking at me right now is through the Sigma 16mm. The colors are great, you've got a great 16mm wide angle, and I'm only an arm's length away from the camera. So if you're in a small little bedroom or something, this lens is great to use. I always recommend buy used. For something like this that goes for nearly $500 to $600, I recommend go on Facebook Marketplace or any other platform that in your area is more popular to buy used things, and buy this used. You'll probably find it for nearly $350. That's almost half the price. Honestly, I highly recommend this lens as your first extra lens. You're not going to go wrong with it. Moving on to the fourth item, which is some filters. Now, whether you're going to be getting a UV filter, some ND filters, or a circular polarizing filter, they're all going to be great for your cinematography outdoors. Now, if you don't know what these filters do, I'm no expert, but I could give you a short little brief explanation. UV filters are pretty straightforward. They protect your lens from UV rays from the sun. ND filters, on the other hand, you can think of them kind of like sunglasses for those bright sunny days where you want to capture the most beautiful moments and scenery, but because of the excessive brightness, you can't really get the best photos. For that, you could slap on an ND filter and it'll act sort of like a sunglass for your lens, and it will add a layer of tint on your lens. That way you get some good pictures. Now on the other hand, you've got a circular polarizing filter. These filters kind of have this ring, manual ring, that you can move in circles at the front of the filter, and what this ring does, it literally works like magic. If you're taking a photo of a person, the colors are great, the photo is great, but the sun is glaring on their face, you want to remove that glare, you can literally use that filter to remove the glare. If you're taking a picture of your car, fresh new paint job, but the sun is reflecting all that, the trees and the bright light off of the vehicle, you could use that filter to remove that glare altogether. Another good thing about circular polarizers is that they work in nature photography, where the greens, they make it more bright, the blues, they make it more blue, like turquoise on beaches. It just works very well for nature-like photography and cinematography. Now, our fifth and final item on the optional list is going to be a gimbal. Now, not everybody's going to need a gimbal, and they're quite expensive, but if your sole objective to use this camera is for cinematography outdoors in the nature and on some really cool fast shots, slow motion shots, you're going to need to keep your camera very stable. For that, you're going to need a good gimbal. I will leave some down in the description below. Now, if you want to see how I set up my Sony Zve10 and a little basic tutorial on some tips and tricks, check out this video right over here. I think it'll help you out a lot. I'll see you in there.